else. And yeah, but that brought in some little problems. And if it wasn't enough, there was also something next going on. So where I'm talking about in this session, I'm talking about a way how you can at least open up your database by using an API and using that in 2 different methods. One is the good old REST method, and the other one is GraphQL, which is also being an API-based access method. From GraphQL, I'm showing you some tools there also, so that might be of interest. So, okay, let's start the story a bit further, so that more details. Brian van der Paat, he started the bike store back in 2016, and he really went well. And it went 2 years. It went really good, and then he bought a lot of bikes. 2018 came there, and he almost didn't sell any bike anymore for some reason. He was soulmates with Mathieu van der Poel and Tom Pidcock, both known very well, and they got involved a little bit, and yeah, they were a bit said, okay, well, we can help you. Well, back in that day, they moved the shop to Oslo instead of in America, and next to that, they opened a branch on some places, and also opened a branch in Copenhagen. So. And next to that, when it was 2023 and the bike selling went well, he also got feedback from their colleagues that they said, "Hey, we do want really good bikes, but a bit more customized and built to our own needs. Can you do that?" So they did a lot of investigations there and said, "Okay, that sounds something which we can do." But that would end up in a few little problems, or little issues, let's call them, or challenges. Like I said, they had a lot of new shops. That meant also they have some new employees. New bikes were there. They started building bikes in over 900 years, I see. They opened an assembly location in Rotterdam. But yeah, they still had that old database where they were using, and there must be some that must be kept in place for guarantee and that kind of stuff. And then out of suddenly, Brian van der Plaats disappeared somewhere in 2022. And that Brian guy, that was the guy who was really responsible for all the IT, which was there before. But I think we all must be quite happy there, because it is that, yeah, they've got you to solve the issues. You have a lot of knowledge, you know a lot of people, and it's really it's really good to look at this. And you talk to the guys, and let's say, okay. After that, you said, okay, well, look, we do need to reconfigure the database, because the database which was created by Brian didn't have any stored procedures of use or whatever. There was no authentication or authorization available in the thing. So everybody who had access to the database was under full control. Yeah, we had those new locations which needed to be added, etc., etc. Also next, because after the movement of the store to Oslo, they already found out how can we do that with some of the stuff we still have in America, and so something like that. How can we make that accessible for all of us? Then they said, okay, let's put the stuff in the cloud. So let's put something in the cloud and make it an API which is available for all of us. That improves security. That makes it future-proof. So let's go in that direction. So what they did, they installed an API server on a VM. They created a VM. .NET 6 was installed on it, and they installed the data API builder. That was quite a simple step. You could download it just from a new package and say, okay, let's install the thing, and bang, there it goes. The database stuff, what you need to do, that was really really simple to achieve. Okay. Then your time is there. You have installed the stuff. You know that that your database is still somewhere. And you have installed the Data API Builder. That's the tool Microsoft has for this, and it's really easy to use. But yeah, installing the Data API Builder does not immediately set up the connection. So you have to do something there, and that means you have to open up some firewalls. You have to open up some stuff. But it's really basic stuff, in fact. What I'm going to show you now is the way how you can easily create the configuration of the data application builder, because for your information, there's not a single line of real code in it. And so I'm not coding any JSON files or whatever. I let the function create it, except for the store procedure, because store procedures are something really specific in this. You need to add a little line of text for all the parameters which a store procedure can have. That makes it a little bit strange, but I think that will be solved in the near future also, because it looks like Data API Builder is able to look at all the database names, all the table names you have, and also at what you create. Only for store procedures, it doesn't find out if there are parameters added to it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create the stuff together with you. So I'm bringing up some other. Ik heb op het web iets gevonden over create the construction of the data. I need to throw away my phone, sorry.
That's fine. That's fine, no worries.
Somebody was interrupting me. Okay, what do I have? Like I said, we have some updates done. There is I created some views, some procedures. This is, by the way, this is all in my GitHub repo at the end of this meeting, so you can look at it. What I did. It's a really stupid, simple store procedure or views which I'm using, but it's just to show you how it's working and that it's not difficult to look at it. Also, what I did, I created some store procedures to insert new products. I did some new products for 2021, 2022. I thought I had them for 2023 also, but I think they're sold out. They're not in, but that's no problem for what we're showing and what we're doing here. This is the code. This is sample create code from SQL Server tutorial, but this by accident the bike stores example. I don't know why, but it fits in my picture. So let me go back. I have installed the data, the thing in here, the DAB data application build. It's easily done by using this install. Well, I had it in the previous sheet, but okay. It's done by installing a NuGet package, and it's really simple. It's described in one of my blog posts. But I will add it to the DAB PS1. So how do I create a configuration? If you look at this, there is nothing in this called DAB config.json. So what do I do? Just to create the connection to the database, etc. There is this stuff what needs to be added. So I have this variables. You see, I'm using really simple things. It is on a machine by myself, so it's on a VM running. I will show you the VM in a few seconds. So what do? You say DAB init, database type, SQL, connection string. There you go. This also makes me think that it should not be difficult to connect this to your Fabric workspaces, for example, and maybe even a Lakehouse. But I was playing with Lakehouse last week, and I didn't get it working, unfortunately. But a good discussion is there, and we can do that, I think. So next one is that that you can add these to the endpoints, and the endpoint is really simple. If you look at it, DAB add production products source production.products and permissions. Okay, anonymous exit and anonymous all. Where does this refer to? If you go look at that, then it refers to. I'll clean this up, make this a little bit cleaner. I hope you can all read it. Is it readable?
Can you zoom a bit on the perhaps just on the query part and the results part?
This stuff.
There you go. Yeah, fine.
Yeah, but it doesn't show in here and in the table stuff. But it's, let's see, there's nothing how you can enlarge it.
I think that's fine.
Yeah. So if you look at it, you go away. Go away. I don't want to always encrypt it. But if you look at this, you will see that this production products, that's the endpoint name I create, and the source, that's just the schema and the table name. So that refers immediately back to this. This is the database name, bike source. You define that up front, and this is the table and in the schema. And you can do that for quite a lot of stuff in here. So I did a few, and that's also because I do want to show you in a later stage how we can look at it. So after all these 5 or 6, 7 endpoints for the tables, I also have created a view, and that's the view I showed you in the source code in here. And you make it available on the same way. DAB add order book in this case, because that's the name of the view of the endpoint I want to use for it. And if you look at it, I'm not really good at casing. That's also why I wrote a thing about Pascal casing, camel casing, or what casing you should use. I think that's something you have to work on yourself. I like the Pascal casing most. That's why I didn't follow it up front. So, yeah, if you look at it, it just says, okay, I'm going to add the view, and I have some key fields here, order ID and store ID. That means on these tables you can sort the columns if you want, and okay, who should be able to execute it or execute the thing, and that's for the anonymous has read access. If you do this anonymous has read, it does also mean that other permissions are not granted. So if you would add, for example, here admin has update permissions, then you are able to update via the view. The tables below it. But that's for this thing is not really needed. And I've created a store procedure, get sales data, and that gives me the sales data of a certain year. It's almost the same. You see DAB add, it's always the same verbs to start with. DAB from Data API Builder, add, do things, and get sales data. And you will see, you will mention the store procedure and also what it is. So the parameter you can add in here, that doesn't slightly work, at least not how I would see it, but that's good for discussion. And you have to execute the get permission, and you will see that this is somehow kind of a GraphQL query already, which you put in there. Why we should add it as being GraphQL, that's a question I'm going to ask next week. So if you run this, and I can easily run it now, so I'll say, okay, let's go. You will see that it creates the DAB config JSON file. And now you can say, okay, by the way, I think it will fail because I know, like I said, there is something on the store procedure which we should add. I can open it. It's this thing. This is the configuration file it has created. And what you see in here, it's the schema name. So it's all described on the Microsoft site on GitHub. Here's the connection string I have. And if you look at it, the runtime, it's the API endpoint, and there's a GraphQL endpoint. There's Swagger involved in the whole thing. It creates all the stuff yourself, and you have the host. You can add multiple hosts, and you can create environments. So that means you can have testing, doing and developing stuff local and say, okay, I want to push it forward, and then it goes to production or to thing, and it will. You can use the same configuration on these items, but with a different database connected to it. And then you go to the entities, and the entities is really the place where you will see endpoints in this case. So you see the production products, that's the one we created. You see the source, the permission, anonymous actions. This is also modifiable by hand. So if you say, okay, I do have this as a primary setup, I'm going to add security. You can add security by using easy authentication methods in Azure. I need to search how that was called. It's easy authentication method. And from the understanding what I have from colleagues who are doing it, that's not as easy as it sounds. And then you have the other things, so the sales items, sales customers. This is all the simple API endpoints which I made. Sales stores, and this is the order book, this is the view. There's already a bit more of information in it if you look at it. And you see that it still is a view. You have those key fields, which are key. And you have the permissions, which you can say. And now you see already here, there's role anonymous, but you can have multiple roles, and you can create roles, assign roles, add permissions to the thing. So you have authentication and authorization, which you can use. Also, there's some good stuff about setting up role level security in this in the demos you can find on the internet. If you look at it, there's also this is the store procedure we created, and what you see in here, there are no parameters in it. And if I'm starting the DAB now, so with the command I'm going to execute in a few seconds, you will see that it fails because it says, well, the option year does not have any. There's no parameter year for it, and that's valid because it's not there. So I can do that, and I will do that. You will see it starts. There it goes, and the error message there is yeah, I predicted it already. It's quite clear. It's really .NET code what you see in here, so you can get a real headache of it. And you see in here, invalid request, missing required procedure parameter, year for the entity get sales data. Okay, I'm a bit lazy today. I just copy the stuff. I go to my DAB JSON, and I know that I need to fill it in after this one. Must make sure that it stays a valid JSON, and it does. So I'm saving the stuff, and I'll go back here. Oh, I'll do that. You will see it starts. There's no error message in it. There's no failure in it. Okay. How can we validate some stuff in here? That's quite easy. I'll pick my browser. Oh wait, this is the wrong browser. That's browser from my VM. This one, and you can go to localhost 5001, and you can say Swagger, for example, and you get this one. It's also another tool installed on the stuff, and you see already in here that you have the full option of all the packages you can get with an API. So you have to get, you have to put, you have to patch, delete, and also the get and the post for the default stuff. And that's for all the stuff. Let's go down to the order book, for example. That doesn't look really different. You see it still has all the options, while we set only read access for all the stuff. So in fact, the put as an anonymous, that won't work, and you get a nice error message of it. So, and for the get sales data, the store procedure, that's only a store procedure which has only the get request available. I think There's also something. No, hang on. There was another thing in here. I had some interesting thoughts. There's another tool installed in the well, maybe I can find it in a few seconds. I will at least write something about it on the blog. There's another tool where you can look at the GraphQL stuff from this side. GraphQL, by the way. There you go. So this is one of those famous tools on the GraphQL tool set. How was it named? It has a name, this thing.
Rob, can I get you to zoom a bit? Just the ordinary browser zoom, because it is very small. Okay. That's
yeah.
just... Yeah, okay, thanks.
Indeed, sorry for that.
No problem. Thanks.
So that it is, how was the thing named? Because this tool has a name. It's chocolate pop or something like that.
It's banana cake pop.
Banana cake pop. Yeah, that's one. You know it.
Yeah.
So that this is also installed in that data API builder stuff. So that's really funny. Next to that, there is also a tool which, and I'm going to bring it in now. I don't know if you have seen this stuff before. I don't know if it has really bad tools today. They don't have even zoom options. Okay, is this better readable at the moment?
Yeah, it's fine, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. This tool is to show you that it's also working like with the GraphQL schemas. So now I'm using here GraphQL for production products, but I can also use this for sales items, for example. And then you can find that these ones should be changed in something else, like item ID. And you see that this is also because this tool is also fetching the data from the data API builder. If the data API builder is not there, it will not do anything. And you can find but it's also important to know what the discount is. I'm still Dutch, so discounts are important. And if you just send this to the query, you will get the list of stuff also about item IDs, orders, etc. for the all 2000 rows. So it's even quite quick in this. The cool thing about this is that you can also say, okay, I want to export this to a, where was it? It's an option. Oh, and in this you can generate code in this tool. And that means you can automatically create some of these PowerShell, HTTP, Node.js, which is something, for example, which you can use in your Hugo website, I think. So there's Ruby, there's Python, Kotlin, all the stuff. So it helps you also, this tool, on looking into this. It can also do API calls, for example. That's no problem. Another thing, what I looked into to getting into the data is also in things which are embedded in your Visual Code. I have the Thunder client, for example. The Thunder client is also a simple an API host, so it can just send the data, and you can see, okay, this is not supported. Okay, that's fine. It's probably because I'm doing the get sales data, and this is the employee ID. That means it is the sales staff, indeed. And then you go. Sales staff. Let's see what the tables are. Staff ID, of course. Yeah, that sounds familiar. With or without them. Not allowed to. Okay. Nope. Was in quotes. Let's deliver something. Nope. Email. What? Okay. Well, not that important, but at least it works. You can check the APIs in this using the Thunder client, and of course you have the Postman in here also. And do I have something in here? Because no. Okay, I had something in here, but that's not it's not configured at this moment, so I won't spend time on that nowadays. So if you go back to this, like I said, I've done some tests on the stuff, and it's really funny how it works. Let's go back to the presentation. Where was I? The endpoint, that's done. This is done. Okay. Then next to that, like I said, also in some of the previous meetings I did, I presented, I'm not a real database internal administrator or something. I do know how to create a database. I do know how to back up stuff. You should not ask me to create a nice design for a database. I'm a platform engineer. I'm looking into automation quite a lot. So from that perspective, for me, it is important also to see, can we use this also from, for example, PowerShell? So that's why I created a small test, and something strange will happen now. You would not expect that. I will declare you in a few seconds in here. So what did I do? I created a base URL in here. So that's the local host where the API server is. Like I said in the beginning of the story, we have those two guys, Tom Pitcock and Mathieu van der Poel. those need to be added in the systems. So what I'm doing, I'm creating those, I'm putting the outcome of it immediately in a variable. So that means $pitcock that will contain at the end the staff ID. So that's the ID it gets back from the API. And same is valid for a pool. So that's been added. I thought it's nice that Johan will get some will be the manager of the branch in Oslo. So I'm going to add Johan to Oslo, and I'm going to put Johan into a variable. I have added a lot of stores already, but I'm also going to add a store in Copenhagen. And you see already there's a lot of data there. I think this is the address of a real bike store I found. Not sure if anybody was there before, but let's do it that way. And then you will see that there is the they will also use that ID later on from that store, which is created. Then I'm going to make Brian a shop manager from the shop in Copenhagen, of course.
I like that. I'm the manager. I'm the boss.
You're the manager. Yeah. So and maybe something more strange, you also get an ID, but that's needed for the rest of the test.
That's fine.
Yeah. Then I am going to enter the shop. So if you want to look for my data, it's here, but that's okay. I don't mind. So that's the customer ID, which is created, and I need to put some data stuff in here, which is readable by SQL, because as we know, PowerShell data and SQL dates, those are not standard compatible to each other, and they always cause headaches. But you can get around it by doing it like this. You're going to ask to get dates, you add some days, you're going to format them in this format, and then convert them to string. That's easy. You can also do that for the date add, because you sometimes need to add something to there or distract something from there. It's the same. You can do it like this. So then we're going to create an order. And the order is in here, the customer ID, blah, blah, blah. And we are going to send that order to there. But an order without any order lines, that is not worth anything. Let's call it that way. So we're going to add some order lines. I want to have some track fuel EX8. It's a bike I'm currently driving, so it is riding. It's really nice, but I want to have a discount of 14%. Happy enough, Brian is happy and he says, those are my first two bikes I'm going to sell you. Here you have them, 40% discount, no problem. So how does that order look like? It's containing the order ID from above already. It's the item ID. It's a product ID. The product ID, this one is referring to the table. I will show you that in a few seconds. The list price is around this one, and I say, okay, I want to have a discount of 0.14, so that means 14% in this case, and that's converted, and that's been sent to the API, and you will see that if we're looking at the year result at the end, we'll get the total amount for this year back. That means all the items in what we have created will be visible. Now I'm going back to this one. If you look at, for example, the stores, there you go. You will see there is no Copenhagen in this line. Make this one a little.
Well, I can see Santa Cruz.
Yeah, those are the old ones.
In the US and Norway, Netherlands, and yeah, no, them.
Yeah, Italy. Oh, no, those are gone. Yeah, okay. There's some real strange stuff in this. I had fixed that, but I restored the database backup, so I will fix it later on. But I will get the source code, the updates of this to later on. These are the store procedures, like I said, that I have added to be able to do some more stuff in the future. For now, it's a little bit irrelevant what there is there. If you look at the production products, so the products, what do we have there? I can just say, okay, select top 1000 rows, pro products, where product name, like fuel, for example. And you will see that from the last two, the well, fuel EX8. It's working better. Should be there. Why not? That's it. You will see that those two numbers are there. Those are 2022 year types. So I haven't found out, but Brian was so happy to sell me 2 old bikes. But no problem there. We'll just keep it there. And if you also look at the staff, you will see that there is no Brian in this list yet. So let's go back to this nice PowerShell thing. I'm going to run it in one go in a different PowerShell window. I will see what happens there. Oh, it switches to the old one. That's not funny. I'm just going to call this. And it says, okay, you see that the turnover, and that's the end output of what I have here. This one is the yearly turnover. For Copenhagen is 5,244 euros and 2,800. I'm sorry, I didn't recalculate it into kronen or whatever, but that's what it is. The thing, everything, but what happened here within the same time frame, so that's really fast, is in here. If I'm going in here, I would say 5. You will see that Johan is added, Mathieu, Tom, Johan, and Brian, all 4 are added here, and they have a different manager. This is funny. Manager. Oh, that's of course. Johan is managed by Mathieu, and Brian is managed by Tom. So that's good. If you look at this stuff, that doesn't change. The sales of the bike stores, you will see that there are some. The Copenhagen is added to it, and also the. If I'm going to do this is a store procedure which is behind the last call. You will see that there is only one store, PP Bikes Copenhagen. The other stores haven't sold anything yet, so you're good to go, Brian. Yeah, that's in fact all the things that you can see. You can add the same brands. That's why I have those store procedures added here. Yeah, looking at this, we created the endpoints, we did the things. Let's go switch back. Okay, we verified that it worked. We did the visual code Thunder. I showed you that it's there. and that you can use it. There's Visual Code for Postman plugin, which you can use. The PowerShell, which in my case, I find that the most powerful thing, because it would mean I can also use this in deployment pipelines, which we, for example, within the company I'm working for, which is quite a big bank, we're doing deployments, and we're storing data of the requests in a database. For the time in the past, we used a tool like Ironman software for that, a universal dashboard. I don't know if some people are familiar with it, but that would mean you have to create the whole endpoint on your own, define it, describe it, do the all the stuff. And if I'm looking at this is quite easy. I could just install it on a separate box, which verifies that the security is better already, and it's only using one port to connect to the database, and makes all the tables we have there quite easy available, which has a side effect, because the deployments we do are using Ansible, and Ansible is easy to call a web API or an API, which means it can easily connect to this. So that means you don't have to focus on a lot of this stuff. And I showed you the Insomnia tool, which is not free, but I didn't get anything to find out if it's paid again. At this moment, what is supported? The databases like Cosmos DB, Azure SQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL. All of these are, of course, the Azure SQL family, as we call them. And I am struggling still a bit at this moment with how to make it work with the Fabric stuff, because the Lakehouse is using the same kind of connection string. And I think because the endpoint is open, I should be able to connect from my home to that endpoint using the authentication I want. And then that would work also. So yeah, that's a bit the stuff I wanted to talk to you about. Like I said, there is some, for a preview product and open source, there's really good documentation. There are some nice stuff there. I will show you a few pages in here, like this one is the Data API Builder documentation from Microsoft. And if you look at the GitHub page, there are some Azure samples which you can look into also. This guy, yeah, is a nice guy. Let's call it that way. Yeah, I think question is, do we have questions?
I have one.
Yeah.
How much footprint does this service application need on the server in order to run?
I can look how big the new package is. I think it's very small.
Yeah, but I'm more into the memory consumption and the CPU, because I know as an infrastructure, the process will be folded down to the SQL Server for the select statements and the update statements. But the service alone, is that just a minor thing that I won't even see on my task manager, or
it's really tiny. I'll see if it's running. It's now running interactive. So sorry, this sounds a bit Dutch. What you see here? I think this is the one. DSA service.
I think I can't. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So 16 megabytes of
16. It's really tiny.
That's nothing. Okay.
It's really nothing, and that's also the cool part of it. Can see if I can find a bit more in-depth data. Details. DAB.
That's the DAB.
That's the memory. 60 gig. 60 gig.
Oh, that's megabytes.
Megabytes.
60 megabytes. Okay.
Yeah. So it's really small.
Okay, great.
If you compare that to other tools, and I haven't seen it spike up or something like that at this moment. So,
Okay.
and like I said, it's using .NET 6 Core Edition, so it's really low-end stuff already. It's running on .NET Core 7 also.
Okay.
And I think 8 is also not a problem.
Yeah. Okay. For the people who would like to rerun your demos, where can they find the code?
That will go into the GitHub page here.
Okay, great.
Yep. That's at least the goal. Well, that's the goal to get in to get it in there. So,
okay, great.
Yeah. Questions from the public?
I think Alberto is typing something. Question level 0. Is this compatible with Azure Database?
Yeah.
Instead of a SQL Server on VM?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So both the Azure SQL Server, also the one without the provisions.
Yeah, the EAS solution, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. It is about opening the port and running it on the same VM or using a separate VM. I would always go for a separate VM, because then you do not need to open your firewall to the outside world to have the connection over 1433 going in, for example, and 443 going out, and that kind of stuff. And if you're using a separate VM, then you can build the application on top of that, which you should use. And like I said, it's using really a layered approach.
Yeah.
If you're going for how the Azure Static Web Apps work, because this stuff is being built in the Azure Static Web Apps at the moment. It's in preview there, which means you're connecting to the web app, and underwater there is this new package is installed on the server if you want, and then from your Azure Static Web App, you're connecting to localhost, like we do in here. From that local host, because your connect string is there, you connect to your database, which means there's no the only hole you need to create in the firewall is the hole from your VM, your Azure Static Web App, towards your SQL Server. But you do not need to open your SQL Server to the whole world for this to get data results.
Okay, sure.
So it is a secure solution also.
Yeah, okay. And there's a question from Nicholas. Can you decouple the API data structure from the database table structure? In case you're adding a new column to a table, does the API update this change?
It does it automatically. Yeah.
Oh, so it automatically reads the metadata from the SQL Server?
Reads the metadata. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes and no. I know where your question is coming from, Nicholas. That's why I say yes and no. And I would normally, if I wasn't here, I would call it YINE, something between yes and no. It has good things that it does the automatic updates, but it's also had bad ideas that if you add it, it's exposed immediately. But it doesn't mean you have to expose it immediately to your application. So, and another thing, as good DBAs and good security practice, never give access straight to your tables. Use views, use store procedures to get the data.
Yes.
That's the way how you should do it. And if you're using views or store procedures to get to your data, you can change anything on the back end, what you want. It doesn't. There's no influence on that. And so it's really simple. If you do want to have, for example, if you want to have a list of all your products, and get products and add the field names you need to have. And if you are going to change something, you can add the changes in the table structure. And if that works, you can just add them later in the store procedure, which you are going to expose. It's still the old fashion things we are doing for 20-30 years already. They're still valid. Don't give access to your tables.
Sure.
That's still a lesson learned. I've seen a few guys doing it, and they went terribly wrong.
Yeah. So from a question perspective from Nicholas, yes, you can do it, but the advisory is to do it on views and store procedures.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
good question.
So when will we see a blog post from you when you get it functioning on Fabric? Asking for a friend.
Yeah, like I said, I need to dive a bit more in that. I've been ill a day last week, so it was a terrible day for me. Maybe I had been further in this case, but I'm still looking for some answers there. If it worked, what I expect, and also what connect string I need to use to connect to the cloud, or from this one or from the other one. I would be happy if I can find it out before I'm talking to Microsoft.
Yeah,
that would be really helpful.
Yeah, you get a thank you from Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas. I hope it was interesting for all of us. And
And as I said, the recording will be available on the LinkedIn group. Please follow along. And if you don't have any other questions, I would like to say thank you to Rob for your time here. It was very interesting. At least I learned a bit, or a lot about how to set up this API on my SQL Server. It looks quite approachable. Because I'm not at all a .NET developer, so I need things in by a spoon. That's fine. But I truly feel that I could follow along here. So thank you, Rob, and thank you for all the attendees. I hope you had a great time, and see you in a month.
Yeah, I think we are in the same boots, Brian. I'm also not a developer, not a real one. I do know a lot of PowerShell, but I'm also not a real PowerShell developer. So. Yeah. But it's really nice and good, this stuff. I like the way how it works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me too. So yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you and have a great evening.
Same to you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.